3 tips for paying off debt that make it much more doable. Number 1, only pay extra toward one debt at a time. Dividing up extra payments between multiple debts is going to slow you down and be much less satisfying. So pick one debt to focus on and pay the minimum on the rest. Tip number 2, do not put all of your extra money toward debt. It's so tempting, I know, don't do it. You need to be building a buffer for yourself, setting money aside for future things. And tip number 3 is don't just pay off debt to pay off debt. Think about the amount of money you're spending on your minimum payments every month, and I want you to dream about what you're going to do with that money once that debt is paid off. What fun things are you going to buy that you've always wanted? What kind of life are you going to build with that money? That is what is going to keep you motivated to pay it off.
Paying off credit card debt can feel impossible, but people are proving it is possible. In this video, you'll hear real strategies from real people who are actively crushing their debt. Whether it's side hustles, balance transfers, or brutal budgeting, their journeys will motivate you to take the first step.
I'm gonna give y'all 3 tips on the fastest way to pay off credit card debt. At least it was the fastest way for me. Number 1, assess your debt. List out all your debts. Figure out which one is the smallest amount, which one has the highest interest rate, the lowest minimum monthly payments, etc., etc. And the reason why you want to assess your debt first, because you need to know what angle you need to come from. A lot of people, we just know what debt we have. We know our minimum monthly payment, but we have no plan. We have no strategy. So once you have and develop a strategy, you can get done with it a lot faster. Number 2, create a budget. This is the most slept on in finances to me for whatever reason. I don't know. A budget literally tells you where your money is going and what you have left over. So once you're going through paying yourself first, contributing to your savings, going through your fixed expenses, going through your variable expenses, whatever you have left over, put that towards your debt. That will knock off months of debt. You can add literally $25 depending on your interest rates and all the details of the debt, but you can add an extra $20 a month that'll knock 6 months off of your debt. I've seen it, I've witnessed it, I've experienced it myself. Number 3, choose your method. You can go snowball, you can go avalanche. For me, snowball was the most effective way for me physically and mentally. Physically, because I'm literally seeing the number get lower and lower. And so that done something to my mind mentally. And so I'm like, every single extra dollar that I had, I'm like, man, let me throw that to that. So if my minimum monthly payment was $60 and I had an extra $20, oh, it's going to that. If I got $100 left over, I'm just going to that. When I seen stuff that I wanted, I'm like, dang, that's $150, but if I can spend $150 on that, I really can put $150 towards that debt. Like, that's what it does to me using the snowball method, because you see those quick results. You see the progress going a lot faster. But the avalanche method, depending on your high interest debt, it could be the best way for you, and it possibly could be the quickest way for you. But I know the snowball method, you see them quick wins, and it does something to my mind personally. And I've seen a lot of people say the same thing for them with the snowball method. So for me, like I said, that was the most effective, most efficient way. And it helped me pay down a lot of my credit card debt the fastest. But as I mentioned in the first 2 tips, figure out what your debt is looking like. Once you figure that out, establish a budget if you don't have one. Whatever's left over out of that budget, that's what you need to be throwing, whether you're doing the snowball method or the avalanche method. Stay disciplined and consistent, and I promise you'll start seeing that debt just like continue to go from here, and it's just gonna turn you up and motivate you to want to get it knocked out a lot faster.
Hi, my name's Jocelyn. I'm 31 years old and I have $18,000 in credit card debt, and I just got paid, so let's budget my paycheck. My total gross pay was $2,184.66. I have my direct deposit set up in a way where $625 goes to my joint account with Austin. It's where our rent comes out of, our joint bills, and then anything for Rain and Rio, our 2 black cats, going out and restocking their food or litter or things like that. That goes immediately and automatically into that joint checking account with Austin. I have $250 that automatically goes to my personal emergency fund. Recently reached 25% of my overall goal of raising $8,000 for my emergency fund. This is the first time in my life that I have an emergency fund as a 31-year-old. It's insane. It helps the bank account that I use is like an online banking account that I don't have the app for on my phone, and I rarely log into it. I only ever log into it to see that the money went in after I got paid, but I don't touch it. It just sits there. And it's so nice seeing that money go up. So that left me with $1,309.66, and I had a previous balance on my checking account of $709.15. So that brought my total checking account to $2,018.81. Y'all, it is insane. I still get so shocked seeing that much money in my checking account. This is coming from somebody who used to overdraft her account all the time. At this point, last year, I had already overdrafted my account like 5 or 6 times. I haven't done it once this year. Over the next 2 weeks, before I get paid again, this is what I anticipate coming out of my account. I have a therapy appointment, so that'll be $25. I have to transfer my fund money. I allocate $100 a month to a fund where I just do whatever I want with those $100, no questions asked. I pay my dad $62 because I'm still on his phone bill. Usually on the 16th of the month, I used to have to pay $368.61 for one of my personal loans, but I paid that off last month. Now I have an extra $368.61, which I'm going to add on top of my next personal loan payment. So I'm going to double how much I'm paying. Be able to pay off that personal loan twice as fast as I was before because the payments I'll be making will be $683.55. And that's where my money's going. Take care. Bye.
Here are a couple of things you need to do to stop spending so much money, and this is coming from someone who paid off 25 grand in credit card debt over the past 2 years. One of the biggest things that has helped me stop impulsively spending money is creating a notes app on my phone where I put links to things that I want to buy. More often than not, I will go back weeks later and look at my notes list and literally have forgotten about half of the things that I really wanted. It's a really good sounding board for whether or not you really want something or if you think you want it just because it's right in front of you. Next, I think it's really important to have a category of your monthly budget that is used for discretionary spending. If the past couple of months you've spent $600 on impulse shopping, maybe you should give yourself at least $150 to spend each month for impulse shopping. Do not expect all of your impulse shopping habits to go away just because you really want to stop spending so much money. It's much easier to give yourself an allotted amount to actually spend each month than it is to try and tell yourself that you're not going to spend any money. Lastly, and this is especially pertaining to people trying to get out of credit card debt, you should not have your credit card saved in your Apple Wallet or your Google Pay. Ideally, you should cut your credit card up or put it in a cup of water and put it in the freezer and forget about it until you're out of debt. At least put it somewhere in your house where you're not going to be tempted to go grab it and swipe it every chance you get.
Okay, I might be dumb and everyone already knows this, but I have a lot of credit card debt and my interest rate is 27%. So every time I would pay the monthly minimum fee, like nothing would change because it was only like $15 going to my actual debt and the rest was going towards the interest rate. I just applied for a loan through Suncoast and it was like the amount that I owe on my credit card debt, and I'm just basically going to do like a balance transfer. So I'm going to pay off my credit card and just pay my loan now to Suncoast because it's only 11%. So before, it would take me 30 years paying them a minimum payment on Discover, and now I can pay off all my debt in 5 years through Suncoast because the interest rate's 11%. So I don't know if everyone knows this, but I just did that, and now I can pay off my debt, paying the minimum balance in 5 years instead of 30 years. And the guy said, since my minimum payment is even less now, he's like, just pay a little bit more every month, and you can pay it off in less than 5 years. So that was just a weight lifted off my chest. I just wanted to advise other people.
I'm sitting in the kids' school pickup line again, doing your all's budgets because it's literally the only time I probably have a minute that's peace and quiet that I can actually do these. So I had a girl message me about credit card debt. She has a few credit cards she wants to pay off, doesn't know how to start it, and doesn't know how much she can put towards it. So I'm going to start this budget with the credit cards. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. This one has a $528 balance. Chase has a $509.84 balance. Discover has a $148.78 balance. And PayPal has a $234 balance. What we're going to do is we're going to start listing them 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to take your lowest balance card and you're going to put that as number 1. Then you're going to move up to your second balance, which is PayPal, then your third Chase, and your fourth Amex. I don't know if that's how you say it. But you really don't know how much you can put towards your credit cards until you know your balances of the month or every 2 weeks. In her case, she gets paid $1,500 every 2 weeks. I'm going to start out by listing her fixed expenses. Her rent is $800. Her car is $559. Her car insurance is $133. Her gym is $109. Her meds are $40. This is monthly balances. Her Amazon is $16. And her Peacock is $12. I'm going to total these up for the month because in order to know how much you can pay towards your credit cards, you need to know your total, which is $1,669.88. Then I'm going to go over to my variable expenses that change every single week, month, however you get paid. And she told me she spends about $120 in gas, about $150 in groceries. And I'm going to leave her miscellaneous blank just for now until I can figure out this credit card situation. So I'm going to divide these into 2 paychecks. Rent gets $400. Car payment gets $288 every 2 weeks. Car insurance gets $66. Gym gets $54 every 2 weeks. The meds get $20 every 2 weeks. Amazon gets $8 every 2 weeks. I just round that up. And Peacock gets $7 every 2 weeks. So the total balance for every 2 weeks is $835 because she gets paid $1,500 every 2 weeks. So then you're going to subtract $270 for gas and groceries, still leaving out miscellaneous, and you're going to have $565. So we're going to take that $565 and we're going to put it towards these credit cards. You can't put it all towards the credit cards because you need some savings and then you need some extra just in case something happens. So we're going to pay off that whole Discover card, $148.78. Your next paycheck, pay that off because you got the extra income to do that. Then as for the rest of the cards, we're just going to pay $25 on them. Then you're still going to have $341 left. Then let's add a little bit to savings because you need savings. Let's do about $100 towards savings, which is still going to leave you with $241 left. That's after making a payment on each credit card and paying off one credit card. After that Discover card is paid off, start with your PayPal credit card. Hope this helps.
Welcome to Hagonomics, and here's how this hag paid off $13,000 of credit card debt. Now, I'm not a financial expert. The way I explain this might be a little fucking shitty. So I'm going to tell you the method I used, which was called the Snowball Method. And if it doesn't fucking make sense, don't leave a hate comment. Just go look it up for yourself, please. Disclaimer. For a portion of my payoff journey and what I'm going to go over today, I was living with my parents. I lived with my parents for about a year, but it took me almost 2 to 3 years to pay off my credit card debt. I found my old budget and we're going to go through what I did. You need to know how much money is going into your bank account. Now, I'm not talking about what salary you signed on your contract. Go to your bank account and see how much exactly to the dime is getting deposited into your bank account each time you get paid. And that equaled to $3,980. I listed out all of my mandatory expenses. So this is where things like rent, electricity, I would write that down. So at this point, I wasn't paying rent because I lived with my parents. In here, I essentially wrote down, and you can go into your statement and figure this out, but I found the minimum amount due on my credit cards. I basically paid off the credit card that had the least amount of money first. I tiered my credit cards, starting with the first one I paid off had the least, then the second least, the third least, and the fourth least. I had 4 credit cards at that time. I had already paid one off, so that one's not on here. I totaled up all these amounts, which equaled $1,293.06. I then basically did some math and subtracted I subtracted my income from what my mandatory expenses were, and I got $2,686.94 left over. This is where I budgeted things like pet care, entertainment, and whatever little expenses that you have. That's where you can customize this to whatever fits your lifestyle. I added up all of these again, and I subtracted what this total was from what I had remaining after I paid my mandatory bills. I was then left with $1,959.94, and all of that money was to go towards my credit cards. So I took all of this money and paid off my next credit card, which at the time was an Apple credit card. My minimum payment on my Apple card was $161. You add it to whatever amount you found left over in your budget to pay towards your credit cards. Editing Michaela here. What I said didn't make any fucking sense. But basically, once you pay off one credit card, so my first one was Apple, once I paid that off, I took the minimum payment for my Apple card and whatever was remaining in my budget and put all of that towards my next card that I paid off, and so forth and so on. That's why it's called the Snowball Method. You just progressively are adding more and more to each of the card payment systems until you pay them off all together. Hopefully that makes sense. That's the best way I could describe it. I really don't know if I'm the best at explaining it, but again, it's called the Snowball Method if what I said didn't make sense. But that's what I did. And eventually you pay them off. You just have to make sure you are not spending any money on your credit cards at this time. That's the important part. Don't be adding to your debt while you're still in debt. That's pretty much it. If it didn't make sense, I suggest you just look up the Snowball Method. That'll help you.
My name is Dom, and I'm a 28-year-old remote software engineer living in the Washington, D.C. metro area. Today, I'm going to share 3 tips on how I got out of debt fast as a new grad at the tender age of 22. These 3 tips directly resulted in me being able to dig myself out of $15,000 of consumer credit card debt in 6 months. I'm going to share these tips with you while I go for a walk because it is way too nice of a day here in D.C. for me to be indoors. Let me first preface these tips by saying that how quickly you can pull yourself out of debt is directly proportionate to how much debt you have and also how much income each month you can put towards paying off debt. Tip number 1 for me was to use the Snowball Method of debt repayment rather than the avalanche method.
It's literally so pretty outside.
The avalanche method is generally considered the more financially savvy way to attack debt because it has you attacking your debt with the highest interest rate first, which saves you more money in the long run. My highest interest debt happened to be my highest amount debt as well. So it took me a long time to really chip away at that debt. I ended up just getting discouraged at a certain point and I just didn't really make any progress. When I ended up switching to the Snowball Method, it was just really motivating and satisfying to see debts being cleared immediately. My lowest credit card debt at the time was a maxed out card that was like $500. I was able to wipe that out in 1 month. The second tip that I used was to create a budget, and a very bare bones budget, meaning that I listed all of the bills and all of the obligations that I had each month, and I really didn't budget for anything outside of that. I kind of like lowered my entertainment budget, my eating out and takeout, all those like extras. I kept that to a very bare minimum, and I put every extra penny that I had towards my debt snowball each month. I will definitely be making TikToks in the future on how to start budgeting and how to create a budget personalized to you and your income. My last tip would be to really get into free or cheap hobbies. The goal here is to keep yourself preoccupied because for me at least, I know that I start spending money when I'm bored. More money that I'm spending on like entertainment or going out and things like that, that's less money that I can be putting towards my debt. Preferably, you want to get into some more like budget-friendly hobbies, things like hiking. Camping can be a really good budget hobby, especially after the initial investment of camping equipment. I am a nerd, so I love playing board games and I play Dungeons and Dragons with my friends, and those are all free. Video games is another hobby that's like pretty cheap for me. I know it can be kind of expensive to pay like $60 for the new Assassin's Creed game, but for me that's a good investment because that's $60 up front, but it takes me forever to like 100% games, so that's like guaranteed entertainment for like the next 2 years. Those are my tips for how to get out of debt very quick. If you guys have any tips that helped you get out of debt, please leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear them.
I'm 27 years old, trying to get rid of $40,000 in credit card debt, so let's see how much I paid off for the month of April. If you're new here, I'm Jess. I'm a full-time entrepreneur and real estate investor, and yes, I owe over $40,000 in credit card debt. Anywho, now that that's out the way, welcome back to part 2 of my Debt Diary series, where I'm getting rid of all this debt while still building the life that I want. So I started this month off with $29,678 that I owe in just personal credit cards. My overall goal is not to pay everything off. It's really just to get my utilization for each card to be under 30%. I'm utilizing the Snowball Method to knock out all the cards with smaller balances first, and then I'm going to focus on my card with the largest balance later. I'm also very much type A when it comes to managing my finances. So of course I have a spreadsheet. This one allows me to see all my balances, what I need to pay down to hit each goal, and of course track all of my progress in real time. I put $129 towards my last payment I had on a payment plan. I paid $173 towards my PayPal credit card, leaving $131 remaining. I only paid the minimum balance on my card with the largest balance, which was $295, which is crazy actually. I completely paid off my MS card, paying $1,419, and then lastly, my biggest payment was $4,071 towards another card, which still leaves $2,190 left over. This brings my total debt payments for the month of April to $6,088. Shout out to my tax refund though. Now all of my cards except one is under the 30% utilization rate. I definitely made some progress, but still a long way to go. So I will be back with another update. Peace.
Every dollar paid down is a win, and these stories remind us that the progress is possible, even when it's slow. If you're in the thick of it, know that others have been there too, and they found a way out.